green transport, or nature-based solutions are key to ensuring effective climate adaptation. These investments will enable low-carbon, climate-resilient development, not only for Africa, but also for the global community. In February, in Addis, I also propose hosting an investment forum in partnership with the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, for the Accelerated Partnership for Renewables in Africa, commonly known as APRA, which was launched in COP28. I am pleased, leaders, ladies and gentlemen, to announce that the investment forum will take place next month in Nairobi, primarily to accelerate renewable energy in our continent. Africa's energy systems require significant investment to tackle pervasive energy poverty and meet the demands of our growing population. We're all aware that close to 600 million Africans have no access to electricity, and almost 1 billion Africans have no access to clean cooking. Last year, global investment in energy transition reached a record 1.8 trillion, a 17% increase from 2022. However, Africa attracted less than 3% of this spending, accounting only for 0.6%. That is only 2.7 gigawatts of the 473 gigawatts of new global renewable energy capacity last year. This stark disparity must be addressed. A population of 1.4 billion people with only 3 gigawatts, while the rest of the globe are in the region of 500 gigawatts, is a serious anomaly, and we must take steps to redress. The Accelerated Partnership for Renewables in Africa initiative, launched at COP28, aims to redress this imbalance by accelerating the mobilization of finance, technical assistance, and private sector engagement. The upcoming investment forum will present Africa's abundant renewable energy potential and mineral wealth as key drivers of resilient, inclusive economies. On the international financial reform agenda, a central theme of the Nairobi Declaration, I am pleased to report progress on 2 initiatives launched at COP28. The Global Solidarity Levies Task Force as one initiative, and the expert review on debt, nature, and climate. These initiatives are gaining traction, with many countries joining to support sustainable development, climate action, and nature conservation. As climate-related shocks become more frequent and severe, coupled with high debt servicing, government spending on green resilience is constrained. High interest rates and credit downgrades also make refinancing costly, and therefore we must continue to advocate for debt sustainability and the reform of the international financial system to ensure climate justice. On the subject of reform, I have written to the incoming COP29 presidency, and I spoke to them yesterday, to request a high-level political event during the World Leaders Summit, focusing on measuring the green wealth of nations, specifically natural capital and economic productivity in Africa. This event will be led by the Congo Basin countries, and I have spoken to our elder President Sassou Nguesso to lead the way. And the African Development Bank President Adesina has agreed to take charge of this initiative, aiming to re-index GDP to accurately reflect the true wealth of our nations. It is not correct for a wealthy continent like Africa to be classified as poor merely because our wealth has not been taken into account. We will be having a meeting next Monday, Congo Brazzaville, led by the Africa Development Bank with selected 14 countries to prepare our position for the meeting in COP29. Finally, in February, we tasked the Africa Union Commission with streamlining governance mechanisms for climate change in Africa. This includes aligning the work of this committee with the African Ministerial Conference on Environment, AMCEN, and the Africa Group of Negotiators on Climate Change. I am pleased to inform that during the recent AMCEN meeting in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, the establishment of a secretariat under the AUC for AGN was discussed. And hopefully, we can have a position in this meeting. The Secretariat will help link and coordinate all our initiatives, including the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative and the Africa Climate Summit. This is a significant step towards consolidating our efforts to tackle the climate crisis, enhance green growth, and promote sustainable development across our continent. Ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, let me now request my brother, Musa Faki, President of the Africa Union Commission, to make his statement.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al-Ghazouani, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania and Chair of the African Union, Your Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Coordinator of the Committee of African Head of State and Government on Climate Change, Excellencies, Member of CAHOSC, Excellencies Ministers, Commissioner Sako Josefa, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by appreciating Your Excellencies for honoring the invitation to participate in this meeting of the highest organ of our Union on climate change. This is a clear testament of the high importance you attach to climate change issues on the continent. Excellencies, Africa has been warming faster than the global average due to the greenhouse emissions emanating from other continents. This year, once again, Africa has experienced devastating floods in Central, East, North, and West Africa, while Southern Africa has been hit by severe drought. This cycle of natural disasters will more likely increase. What is clear is that climate change has sucked the momentum out of economic growth for the affected member states. In fact, studies indicate that many African nations are losing up to 5% of GDP due to climate change impacts. The harm is growing deep and huge. Excellencies, from Cairo to Cape Town, from Dakar to Dar es Salaam, year on year, we continue to record increasing climate-induced disasters. Some of our member states have declared a state of emergency on either drought, flood, or famine. Yet, the pledge of $792 million to the Loss and Damage Fund at the 28th Conference of the Parties in Dubai are like a drop in the ocean compared to the magnitude of the resources required to address loss and damage annually in Africa alone. Coupled with this alarming situation, Africa's debt burden continues to climb as most of the resources that would have been used for other developmental projects are diverted to address the ever-increasing impacts of climate change. The rules for climate financing are unfair. They are wrong. They must change as they must consider Africa's unique circumstances, as it is morally unacceptable that African countries are finding themselves on climate overseas development assistance, loan debt despite not carrying any historical responsibility for the climate crisis. Excellencies, to contribute towards the solutions to climate change and related potential innovative financing mechanisms, the African Union Commission convened the first Africa Carbon Markets Conference in July 2024 at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa. This conference served as a crucial platform for the African continent to deliberate on carbon markets, their approaches and opportunities, the inherent challenges, threats, and potential options for the continent to explore considering its unique circumstances. The African Union Commission also developed a multi-country program which was approved by the Green Climate Fund in February 2024 to finance 15 member states to develop their readiness programs for water resilience to climate change. Furthermore, the African Union Commission continues to strengthen capacity for member states to build resilience toward climate change through development of policies for disaster risk reduction, implementation of the Urban Resilience Program and the Green Recovery Action Plan. Much has been done, but much more work remains ahead of us. Excellencies, as we approach the COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, a key objective is to finalize negotiations on the new collective quantified goal for climate finance. Building upon the previously pledge of 100 billion, it is imperative that African leaders present a united front at COP29 to advocate for a more ambitious climate finance commitment for developing countries. Any further, in speaking by one voice in this forum, will deprive Africa from gaining significant results. The duty of the African leadership is to make sure that this failure is avoided. This is crucial to restoring trust in the international climate finance architecture and ensuring that Africa receives the necessary resources to address the devastating impacts of climate change. Another crucial expected outcome of COP29 is the finalization of Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, which will establish clear rules for international carbon markets. Speaking with one voice and strong as Africa will be crucial in this rule-making global forum. Excellencies, as I conclude, I would like to assure you that the African Union Commission remains committed to support our member states to deliver on their ambitious plans to build resilience for our people to climate change. The new leadership, which will be elected during our summit in next February 2025, will find a very well-paved way to deliver and perform in this challenging space. I wish you fruitful deliberation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now request and invite His Excellency Mohammed Gould Sheikh Ghazouani, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania and our Chair of Africa Union, to make his statement. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Excellence, cher ami William Ruto, Président de la République du Kenya, Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la Commission de l'Union africaine, Moussa Faki Mohamed, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs de délégation, honorables invités, Mesdames et Messieurs. Permettez-moi tout d'abord d'exprimer mes sincères salutations ainsi que la gratitude de mon pays pour l'initiative audacieuse de mon cher frère et ami, le président de la République du Kenya. Son engagement constant à réunir les États africains autour d'un sujet d'une importance capitale comme celui des changements climatiques témoigne de son leadership. À quelques mois de la tenue de la COP 29 en Azerbaïdjan, cette démarche de coordination et de concertation nous permettra de répondre à l'urgence d'une action renforcée à l'échelle. Dans cet esprit, je tiens également à les féliciter chaleureusement pour l'organisation du tout premier sommet africain sur le climat en septembre 2023. Sommet historique a permis l'adoption de la déclaration de Nairobi des dirigeants sur les changements climatiques. Cette déclaration, mesdames et messieurs, a contribué de manière décisive à l'élaboration des positions continentales claires et fortes lors de la Grâce à cette unité et à cette vision commune, l'Afrique a pu faire entendre sa voix dans l'arène internationale. Le rôle qui incombe à notre comité, que nous acceptons avec responsabilité et d'être le fer de lance de cette position africaine commune. Nous nous engageons à défendre nos intérêts, à veiller à ce que notre continent parle d'une seule voix dans les négociations internationales sur les changements climatiques.
Problème technique. Colleghi.
Là, je vais devoir le prendre un peu parce que, apparemment, certains de l'auditoire ne suivaient pas à cause de la traduction. Permettez-moi tout d'abord d'exprimer mes sincères salutations ainsi qu'à la gratitude de mon pays, l'initiative précieuse de mon cher frère et ami, le président de la République. Son engagement constant à réunir les États africains autour d'un sujet de l'importance capitale comme celui des changements climatiques témoigne de son pays. À quelques mois de la tenue de la COP 29 en Azerbaïdjan, cette démarche de coordination et de concertation nous permettra de répondre à l'urgence d'une action collective renforcée à l'échelle du continent. Dans cet esprit, je tiens à les féliciter chaleureusement pour l'organisation du tout premier sommet africain sur le changement climatique.
African Summit held in Nairobi in 2023. This historical summit made it possible to adopt the Nairobi Declaration of the Heads of State on Climate Change. This declaration, ladies and gentlemen, has contributed in a decisive manner to the preparation of a clear continental position which was presented at COP28 in the UAE. And through this vision, Africa made its voice heard on the international scene. The role of our committee, which we accept with responsibility, is in fact the tool that we want to use, and we want to make sure that our continent speaks with one voice at international negotiations on climate change. Our collective action is our force, and this unity is more than ever necessary. In the coming months, while we prepare ourselves for COP29. One of the major issues of the negotiations is to provide a collective approach that will obviously replace the crucial objective of $100 billion, and for adaptation requires close coordination between our member states. It is imperative that Africa, as the most vulnerable continent facing the consequences of climate change, should participate fully in the discussions for sustainable financing, and which is also foreseeable. In this dynamic, I would like to stress that Mauritania is determined to play a vanguard role at the international scene as regards the various agenda and discussions. We are committed to be at the disposal of the continent and also the we have more than 750 kilometers and more than which in fact of shoreline, which affords us the possibility for wind energy that we can use. We believe that we can generate 2,500 kilowatt per hour. This makes Mauritania and therefore for Africa an indisputable actor for the production of green hydrogen. Our efforts, combined with those of our brothers on the continent, and I'm convinced to be able to contribute in a decisive manner to reduce the emission of gas. And we obviously carry the hope, and we hope that Africa will remain united, determined and ambitious. The time has come to transform our resources and our opportunities into concrete action for the benefit of our peoples and the future generations, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for your very informative statement. Excellencies, now we have now come to the end of the first session of this meeting. The next session will be a closed session for members only, and I will be requesting the members of the fourth estate to step out so that we can continue with that other session.